Hello friends, it's Lisa and welcome to a new reading vlog. So I am having a bit of a crisis. Basically, I'm kind of contemplating if I even like reading anymore. We're having one of those moments. Let me explain. There's definitely a few things factoring into me feeling this way. One of them being the fact that the last 5 books I have read have all been 3-star books. There's nothing wrong with 3-star ratings. It's not a bad rating, but obviously it's not great either. It's a very middle of the road rating. A lot of them I haven't felt strongly about one way or the other. So I'm just having a lot of like meh, okay reads recently. And also I'm starting to feel like this year my reading, it started out so much better in the first couple of months, and then slowly throughout the year it's been kind of going back to how my reading was last year. In 2022 I felt like I did not have a very good reading year. I definitely had some 5-star reads that were like new all-time favorite books of mine, but I did have a lot of like 2-star reads, and I even had a couple of 1-stars, and I don't really give out 1-star ratings very often, and last year I had 2, which is a lot for me. So I had kind of a mixed bag, but I also had a lot of just, again, middle of the road ratings last year, but I also had a lot of books I just really didn't enjoy. So even though last year my reading may have not have been great, I did have some 5 stars that I loved. This year, other than rereads, not counting those, I've only had 2 5 stars, and one I read in January and one I read in February. So it's been 3 months since my last 5-star read. That's just not making me super excited. And at this point last year in 2022, I definitely had like 4 or 5 stars, and one of them was All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir, which was my like #1 favorite book of 2022. It became like my new personality and I absolutely loved it. And that's the thing too, is that my 5-star reads this year, the 2 that I've had, are 5 stars. I really loved them. One is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola, and the other was Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. Both of those books I gave 5 stars for good reason. I really loved those books, but I feel like there's a difference between a 5-star book and a 5-star book that is a new all-time favorite that is going to be your new personality. And those books were 5 stars, but they weren't quite on that level. So I'm just, not having a great time. I just don't know what's worse. Last year where I had, some new all-time favorite 5-star reads, but also had a lot of really bad books that I just did not enjoy, versus this year where I've had a lot of like 3.5, 4-star reads, things that I'm liking, but nothing I'm loving. And we need to fix that. We need to do something about that. So lucky for me, I did make a 5-star predictions list at the beginning of this year, and one of the books that was a 2023 release that's on that list, I think I'm going to give 5 stars, recently came out. And I'm so excited to pick this book up. So I feel like this just feels like the right thing to do and the right thing to pick up right now. And it's probably in the title and the thumbnail, so you already know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna be reading Happy Place by Emily Henry in this vlog. And there is a lot that I'm hoping this book will do for me. Obviously, I don't want to put like so much pressure on myself and this book to fix all of my problems for it to be a book that I enjoy and be 5 stars. I just, at this point, want to like this book. Even if it's 4 stars, that's fine. I just want to give something higher than 3 stars. But this is Emily Henry's newest adult romance, and I have really enjoyed all of the other Emily Henry romances that I've read. So I feel like there's a good chance I'm going to enjoy this again, even if it's not 5 stars. I think I'm going to like this. My bestie Casey from Casey Can Read recently read this and gave it 5 stars, and I feel like with romance in general, but also just Emily Henry's romances, me and Casey tend to feel pretty similar about them. So I don't know. I have good hopes, good vibes. I'm hopeful. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. She can't speak. What I'm trying to say is that I think I'm going to like this. I have high hopes. And also Darian, another bestie from Darian Reads, she is currently reading this. I don't think she's super far into it, so hopefully we can do a little buddy reading moment. I did contemplate waiting to pick this up because this book takes place in Maine. You're following Harriet and Wynne, who go on this Maine vacation with their friends every year, and this year is the last year that they're going to have the specific cottage that they go to. And Harriet and Wynne used to date, but they've now broken up, but they're gonna fake date and pretend that they're still together with their friends so that this like last vacation in Maine can just remain the same and that there's no drama or anything. And I'm going on a little weekend away to Maine soon-ish, and I contemplated waiting to read this when I was in Maine because this takes place in Maine. but I, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. I need to read this right now. So yes, Happy Place by Emily Henry, the reading plans for this week. I will be keeping this vlog spoiler free. I know, you know, a lot of people are really excited to read this. I don't want to spoil anyone. Maybe I'll do like a spoiler section at the end, but we're gonna keep this spoiler free. I just am really excited to read this and need this to make me remember why I like reading again. So that's what we're gonna go with. I'm also planning on reading a couple other things this week, keeping on theme with Miss Emily Henry. I know that there is this bonus epilogue from Beach Read that's on Emily Henry's website that my friend Brittany from Brittany and Books told me about a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember if I knew this existed or not. I'll have to see when I read it if I've read it before, but I don't think I have, and Brittany really wanted me to read it. I still haven't read it, so I feel like in a vlog where I'm already reading an Emily Henry, it feels like the perfect time to read that, and that will just make me happy for sure because Beach Read is my everything. So we will be reading that little epilogue, but also I'm currently listening to the audiobook for Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner, and this is also going really well. I'm loving this book as much as you can love a book that is so emotional and heartbreaking and sad. This is a memoir about Michelle Zauner and her mom. Her mom was sick with cancer and ended up passing away. I think it was back in 2014, and this book is kind of sharing Michelle's perspective on that whole time and her mom getting sick and what she had to do for her and losing her mom and the grief that she is still dealing with. And it's just a very like emotional read, and it's taking me a little while to get through it because I keep having to stop because it's so emotional, but it's so impactful and moving, and the writing itself is so beautiful. I really love Michelle Zauner's writing. Just the way that she is being so like raw and really sharing how she felt in these certain moments, but also just like the way that she is putting things, like the way she words things themselves. It's like, wow, that's such an interesting way of putting this feeling that I have also felt. So I'm really enjoying it, even though it's making me very emotional. But I think I only have like 2 hours left of that audiobook, and I'm hoping to finish that this week as well. And you know, that might be a 5-star. I feel, you know, memoirs and nonfiction, I kind of take it case by case on if I rate them or not. I tend to go if it's 5 stars, sure. If I wouldn't be giving it 5 stars, I'm gonna give it no rating, just because I don't want to rate someone's like personal life experience. Like, it does feel a little strange, but that's just kind of how I feel, so we'll see. But right now I'm really enjoying it, and maybe that will also be the thing that breaks this 3-star curse. So yeah, Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner and Happy Place by Emily Henry, and maybe the Beach Read bonus epilogue on Emily Henry's website. Hopefully all of these things come together to remind me why I read, because we need it. So keep your fingers crossed that this goes well. My allergies right now, not well. So sorry about my voice or the stuffiness or anything that's happening, but I needed to update. We needed to chat because Happy Place, you know? Good news. This slaps. Yeah, I may be getting ahead of myself here because I'm only on chapter 9, which is page 89. I'm not even 100 pages in. But I'm loving this. This is exactly what I needed, and I just really hope that I continue to love it because I need this. I'm really struggling. I think I kind of described what this book was about yesterday, but you're following Harriet and Wynne, and they were a couple that were very much in love, very strong, like a couple that all of their friends thought like were really solid and were going to be together forever. The two of them actually end up breaking up, but they decide not to tell their friends for a few different reasons. And then the friend group goes to this cottage in Maine on vacation during the summer, every summer. And this year they all show up. Harry and Wynne plan to tell their friends that they have broken up because at this point they still don't know. But then they get there and they realize that this week is going to be the final week that these friends are able to stay at this cottage. The girl whose dad owns the cottage is selling it. So this is going to be their last summer at this specific cottage where all of these memories have been made. And there's a few other reasons why this week is going to be special for these group of friends. So Harriet and Wynne decide to keep up the ruse that they're actually together. They're going to fake date and pretend that they're still together for their friends' sakes and that they can all just like enjoy this final week at the cottage together without all of the drama. So this definitely has some like popular romance tropes. We have the fake fake dating trope, which is one of my favorite tropes when done well. I do really enjoy that one, but it also has the second chance romance trope, which I don't typically enjoy, which is, I always think is kind of funny because like one of my like favorite movies, like comfort movie #1 is The Parent Trap. And like the whole premise of that movie is based around the second chance romance trope. So I don't really know what I like and what I don't like. My brain doesn't always make sense. Maybe it just depends on like the media that I'm consuming the story in. I don't know. But the reason I feel like second chance romance doesn't really work for me with books is that we either do not get any flashbacks to the characters and their relationship before, so it feels like you're just like jumping into their relationship. Obviously, like it's a second chance romance, so you're seeing them fall in love a second time, but it feels like we've always like missed something. I don't know, I feel like I'm just like jumping right into the middle when it's the beginning of the story. I feel like I've always missed something. Or you get the flashback chapters, but sometimes they're not done well. There's like not a good balance of flashbacks versus current day chapters, or I feel more invested in one timeline versus the other, or not connected with either. And I feel like this one, okay, dogs were barking, motorcycles were going by. Anyway, Happy Place. I'm like completely distracted by the littlest of sounds. But with Happy Place, I feel like it's working for me for some reason. I do think part of it is just because it's Emily Henry and I really love her writing and I love her characters, and I always feel so invested in her stories super early on. Like she has the type of writing and the type of books where I'm not checking like what page I'm on or how many chapters I have left or anything like that. Like I just get so sucked into her characters and her stories, where I feel like with a lot of other books I'm constantly checking, you know, what page I'm on or my progress or anything, and I don't do that with her books. So I feel like there's that to be said about her writing, that she just really sucks me in, and I already like really connect with our characters and really like the characters. But we are getting flashback chapters too, so we are seeing a bit of insight into these characters' relationships before they've broken up and before the current day. So we are getting that insight into their relationship that I always want from second chance romances, but I feel like she's also balancing those chapters well. I feel like the amount of time we're spending in the past and then the amount of time we're spending in the present is really well done. It's not exactly 50-50. I feel like we're spending definitely more time in the current day timeline as of right now at this point in the book, but I feel like she's just giving those flashback chapters or current day chapters the exact amount of page time that they need. And I don't know, it's working. This might be the one second chance romance book that I actually like. Yeah, it's really working for me and I am really enjoying it. Again, like I said, I might be getting ahead of myself, but I already have like a Pinterest board for this book. I have a playlist and it's Happy Place Taylor's version because there's already so many Taylor Swift songs. I'm like, oh, it's them. And we're, again, not even 100 pages in. So I'm just really excited to keep going. I'm really enjoying it. And that just makes me so happy because I really, really needed that. I really needed a book that I was going to absolutely love and become obsessed with. And here she is. Especially because this was an anticipated release for me. And I feel like I definitely have had a few different anticipated releases already come out. I haven't read some of them, but one of my like most anticipated books of this year was Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, and that was disappointing to say the least. So I'm just glad an anticipated release for this year is really working out and I'm loving it. So yeah, all good things. Great things all around. Excited to keep reading. Haven't read any more of Crying in Mart though. I think, like I said, I just have like 2 hours left of that audiobook, so maybe I can finish that up today or tomorrow if I can get myself to put this down long enough to want to listen to my audiobook if I have some time to read. But yeah, it's just, everything is great right now. All of a sudden, my love for reading has come back, and you know, Emily Henry, I should have known that she was going to be the one to be able to do that. All right, hello, my friends. It is now Thursday. That's a hair in my mouth, but it is now Thursday, and I wanted to update you all because I don't really feel like I have vlogged a whole lot the past couple of days. I literally was vlogging every week for the month of April and then just completely like stopped, and now I feel like I've forgotten how to vlog again, even though it hasn't been that long. But I did want to come back and report that I did finish reading, I think it was Tuesday night, Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner, and I'm so happy to report that not only did I finally break this little 3-star curse that I've been in, I've also broken the 5-star curse that I've also been having, where I haven't had a 5-star since February. That's finally over. We had a 5-star, folks. This was so good, so emotional, so like well written, and just like really emotional. Like it just made me like cry a few times, and I loved the way Michelle Zauner like wrote certain things and how she described certain feelings and emotions and things that she was thinking at the time. It felt very real and honest, and a lot of things she would say that it's things that I have felt myself but didn't know quite how to word them, or just like she worded them in a way that like I knew exactly what she meant. So I really liked the writing. I also really loved that, you know, food was such a big part of her relationship with her mom, and that she used food to like cope with the loss of her mom, and it helped her through the grieving process, and like learning about the different things that she was making, and just like that whole aspect I thought was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, it was just incredible. I know this is a very popular book, a very popular memoir, but if you have not picked this up, I highly recommend if you can handle the kind of content. Obviously, she is heavily discussing the loss of her mom and going through that process, so that is a big part of it, but it was so beautifully done, so emotional. I highly recommend. 5 stars. Very happy. We finally had a 5-star. I'm so excited. Which means that the pressure for Happy Place to be a 5-star is kind of off, but like it's really not, because I still want to give this 5 stars because I want to love this book. This is a 5-star prediction, so I want to be right. Plus, how powerful would it be of me to have 2 5 stars back to back after not having one since February? So we're manifesting that this is still a 5-star. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm like about halfway, or almost exactly halfway through the book. I'm on chapter 19, which is page 192, and I'm still really enjoying it. I'm loving the mix of flashback chapters and the current day chapters. I think we're getting a good mix of both, but it's definitely more so set in the current day, which I think makes sense. I really love the characters Harriet and Wynne, but I also love a lot of the side characters. I absolutely love Kimmy. She's like one of their girlfriends that's now just become a part of the group, and I just love her. I love her energy. There was also a little beach read reference in this book. I think Emily Henry mentions beach read, or like references beach read in all of her books, so I should have been anticipating it, but I wasn't, and that made me kind of cry. I also think that there may have been a Silly Goofy August by Taylor Swift reference, and that might just be me and the fact that I'm constantly thinking about August by Taylor Swift, so I'm like looking for signs of it everywhere and everything. But there was definitely a moment where I was like, this is very reminiscent of a lyric from August, and I wonder if that's where that came from. I don't know, or I'm just trying to relate everything to Taylor Swift, but you know, that's possible. That is what I do. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's very emotional. I think that a lot of people have said that like a book called Happy Place is not very happy. It's one of her most emotional books. So can't wait to keep reading and see what happens in the second half, because I'm sure it's just gonna get more emotional. I also love the setting of this book, how it's set in Maine. They also, like in the flashback chapters, they go to school in Vermont. So there are a lot of like New England vibes. And I know Emily Henry like went to Maine. I think she went to Boothbay Harbor in Maine to do research for this book. And you can just tell that she like clearly has been to New England before, and like all of the little references and things that are not a big deal and no one else is going to think about. It just makes me feel like I'm really in the story. It really makes me feel like I am in Maine. Yeah, it's just really nice to see that, because there are some books I've read where it's like they're set in New England, but it's like this could literally be set anywhere. It really doesn't have anything distinct enough about it, but this definitely has distinct like New England, Maine, and Vermont vibes, and it makes me really happy as someone who's from New England. I know like probably no one else really cares, but it makes me happy. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm finding it hard to pick it up, because I know once I pick it up, I'm gonna get sucked in, and it's gonna go by so fast, and I'm gonna read so many pages at once, and then the book will be over, and I just don't want it to be over. So I keep pushing off reading it, which I think is a good sign, but like hopefully I can finish it by the end of this vlog. That's the goal. But yeah, I think the fact that I want to like make this last as long as possible, I don't want it to be over, is a good sign. I'm just really enjoying it. I love Emily Henry's writing. I love her banter. I love her humor. I love her romances. I love her characters and how like there's always so many different sides to them, and I don't know, I just love it. I'm loving it. So we're still gonna manifest this to be a 5-star. I just wanted to update on that I'm still loving this. Crying in Mart was a 5-star. We're doing so good. I'm remembering why I like reading. It's all coming back, which was the goal. So it is now Friday evening. I wanted to give one last update on Happy Place before the weekend began because I think I'm going to try and finish this weekend. I do have some plans tonight. I'm going out to dinner probably soon-ish. We're going to be heading out soon. And then I think on Sunday we do have some plans for Mother's Day, but I still want to try and finish this in between all of those things. I am on chapter 22, which is page 227. So I think I have like just over 150 pages left of the book, which should be doable, especially because I still am really enjoying this. Like I was saying before with Happy Place, which I just realized their dust jacket isn't on the book, so you don't know what this is. It's Happy Place. But I think I was saying earlier on in the vlog that when I'm reading this book, when I'm picking it up, I just get so lost within the story and these characters. I'm not really paying attention to what page I'm on or, how many pages left until the chapter ends or anything like that. I'm just thoroughly enjoying my time reading this. I do think I'm having this problem though when I'm not picking it up. I am thinking about it a lot when I'm not reading it. I'm still working on that Happy Place Taylor's version playlist. I think I might make a graphic and post it to Instagram when I'm done with the book of some of the songs in this playlist because it's just making me so happy at the moment. But I feel like when I'm not actually reading this book, I'm starting to question how much I'm liking it, and I think it's just my brain overthinking yet again. Overthinking is truly what I'm best at, so it's bound to happen. But when I'm not reading this and I have time to think about how I'm really feeling about it, even though I'm loving it when I'm actually reading it, I start to sit there and compare it to other Emily Henry books, specifically Beach Read, which is my personal favorite Emily Henry that I've read so far. We don't know with this yet, but I absolutely love Beach Read. It's not only my favorite Emily Henry that I've read, but it's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite romance book that I've read. It's definitely up there. I love it so much. So I'm just sitting here comparing this book to Beach Read and thinking am I enjoying it as much as that book? But I feel like that's kind of doing a disservice to not only myself, but also this book. They're very different books. Yes, there's some similarities, and yes, they're both by Emily Henry, but they also are very different plot-wise, and there's different characters, and it is a very different story. So I just need to stop doing that because when I'm not thinking about that, I'm loving it. So I just need to stop comparing it to other Emily Henry books, but I'm really enjoying this. I feel like this probably will end up being a 4.5 star, 5 star. I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes because I do have I'm a little over halfway, so I still have most of the second half left to read, and we still don't at this point know in the book why Harriet and Wynne broke up initially, and we've started to get some hints as to what may have happened, but we don't really know the full story yet, and I'm a little nervous to get that information just because I've been saying second chance romance, not my favorite trope. I do think as far as second chance romance goes, this is definitely by far my favorite that I've read. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm hopeful that I won't be too mad when we actually get that full story and we finally understand what happened originally that made them break up in the first place. But I am a little nervous because I feel like that could be where my enjoyment of this book could change, or that could be what really makes or breaks this book for me. So I don't know. There's also some other things that I feel like we still need to see answers to. A lot of stuff regarding this friendship group and these friends and the future of their relationships and everything. So yeah, I definitely have a lot of questions, a lot of things that we still don't fully know, but we will be finding out hopefully in the second half, and I feel like that's where I'm nervous to keep going. But I have heard that this book is very devastating, so I'm ready for the emotional journey that I'm probably going to go on, and hopefully it all works out, and hopefully I still enjoy the second half and enjoy all the reveals and all of the answers to these questions. But yeah, I'm definitely nervous, but I'm still really enjoying it. And I need to just stop comparing it to Beach Read because that's just not helpful in any way. But yeah, like I was saying, I do have some dinner plans tonight, so I think I might try and read a little bit before we leave, but hopefully I can finish it this weekend, and hopefully I still end up loving it by the end of this book. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous about this, but so far, so good. Alright, I'm editing this vlog and I realized at the very beginning of this video, I mentioned reading the bonus or extended beach read epilogue, and I never did that. So I have it up on my screen. I'm going to give it a read. I'll be back to report back. I feel like this is gonna make me cry. So, wish me luck. We just started. I'm already gonna cry. Oh my god. Cute. We love an Emily Henry crossover, am I right? The Emily Henry cinematic universe. Oh my god, this is just fan service. But good thing I'm a fan. It's working. Oh no, I'm gonna cry. Thank you, Brittany, for making me read this. I'm gonna go cry now. That was so cute. It definitely was like super fan servicey, but like if you're going to Emily Henry's website to read a bonus epilogue, like you're the audience for this type of thing. You know what I mean? I loved it. 10 out of 10. Well, hello friends, from me and a little sleepy Sammy. But I am here to update you all because a couple days ago I finished Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I'm so happy to report that this was 5 stars, and this is exactly what I was describing earlier on in the vlog. You know, the difference between a 5-star book and a 5-star book that is a new all-time favorite and you're making your whole new personality. This is that. This is my whole personality right now. I mean, immediately when I started it, I was instantly obsessed with it. And when I was reading it, when I wasn't reading it, I was just constantly thinking about it. And now that I have finished it a couple days ago, I haven't stopped thinking about it since. And I even like completed my Happy Place Taylor's version playlist, which I will link down below if you want to check it out. I even kind of have that playlist organized by like their relationship the first time around, and then the breakup, and then, you know, what we're mainly seeing in this book and how their relationship kind of evolves by the end of this book. And I don't understand how I'm supposed to think about anything other than this book. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. And I don't want to like discount Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner, because I was also a 5-star this week. Like, honestly, I'm so happy that these 2 books I read this week and was vlogging and loved both of them, because they were both like the first 5 stars that I've had since February, and definitely books that I think will be on my favorite books of the year list. And I don't want to like overshadow Crying in Mart with this book. They're just like, they're not even comparable. You know, one is a nonfiction that is dealing with grief and is very emotional and was impactful in its own way. They're just totally different books that, you know, I can't even really compare them. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. This is definitely like my #1 favorite book of the year so far. Not that I had much to like compare it to, or like it didn't really have much competition at this point, but it definitely is my like #1 favorite book of the year. I'm so interested to see what my best books of 2023 list ends up looking like. We still have like over half the year left, so it could change, but right now this is #1. But yes, like I've said a million times already, I absolutely loved this book. I don't think the second chance romance trope is still for me. Like, I still don't think that I'm generally going to enjoy that trope. I think this was just a very like unique circumstance where Emily Henry is just an author that I really enjoy, and the way she writes her characters and her romances and the way she paces this book in particular, I think is why I liked it. I liked that this book is mainly set in like the current timeline, but we do get some flashbacks, and I think those were perfectly placed. It was perfectly paced throughout the whole book. You didn't get too many flashbacks, but you got enough to understand these characters and what they were going through and what they were experiencing, and seeing their relationship before, but also like understanding what led up to them breaking up in the first place. Like, I think it was just perfectly done. They were perfectly balanced in that way. I think another reason why too this trope really worked for me is just the characters themselves. I loved Harriet and Wynne so much, and I also really liked the friendship group as well, all of the friends. I think Emily Henry is so good at writing characters that feel really fleshed out. Not always, but most of the time, and I feel like this is an instance where all of these characters felt like they had so many different sides of them, and you could really understand where a lot of their motivations came from. They all had different fears and insecurities and anxieties, and a couple of these characters also, like Harriet and Sabrina specifically, grew up in certain circumstances that cause them to handle certain things differently. And that really goes for all of the characters, but them specifically, I really noticed it. And I think that's what I love about this friendship group and her characters and the way she writes them is they just feel real. They make mistakes. They don't always do the right thing. They don't always say the right thing. And I think a lot of where things went in this book, a lot of the conflict and a lot of the issues that these characters had made sense and felt very real and like very real problems. And a lot of characters, they made mistakes. They did things I didn't agree with, but I could understand where they were coming from and where the, like, you could see that they were doing it in their mind out of the goodness of their heart a lot of the times, but you could understand where they went wrong or why they made those decisions and why they were wrong. But I don't know, her characters always feel just so fully fleshed out to me, and they're messy, but they're real. And that's what I think makes me connect with them so much, is because they feel like real people. And I think especially with Harriet and Wynne and this being a second chance romance, like their characters and being able to understand them and understand where they were coming from, where they both were at mentally, what happened to cause them to be the way that they were and why they acted certain ways and why they thought certain things, it all ended up making sense. I was nervous, like when we were gonna get the reveal of like why they broke up in the first place. I was nervous that one of my like least favorite things to read about in romance was gonna be the reason, but I actually ended up really enjoying the way that that all played out, and I think it made, again, a whole lot of sense. And something else specifically, like, I don't know if everyone is gonna feel this way, but like Harriet specifically feels kind of personal. I feel like Emily Henry, when she like went to Maine to do her research for this book, I think she like made a pit stop here. Like she was in the New England area and she was like, I'm just gonna make a quick pit stop, and she just like secretly observed me and got her inspiration for Harriet. Like, it is weird how similar and like so many things that Harriet thinks and does like is me. And it was so interesting to read that because I can recognize like Harriet doing things that I do and how that caused problems for her and for her relationships with Wynne and with her friends and with her family. And it was so interesting to read it from that perspective and be like, oh, the things I'm doing might be causing problems or might end up causing problems. So it was really weird and kind of emotional to read those scenes and those moments because I related to her. Like there were a lot of like small like general things that she did that I found relatable, like how she likes creating to-do lists and she likes being organized, and like checking things off of a to-do list makes her like feel calm and at peace. And I definitely like relate to that. I'm definitely someone that likes to be organized and I like to plan things. And also how she has like this certain TV show that she always turns to for comfort, and how she has like this love of cozy mysteries because she always knows that in the end like the bad guys are going to get caught, and there's that comfort in that. And I definitely understand that as well. But there were a lot of other things as well that like it almost feels too personal to share why they felt relatable to me, but there were a lot of things that was like, whoa, how did she like put things that I've experienced or things that I've thought into words? But also just a lot of the things that Harriet does and like the way that she acts and the way that she thinks. It's like, oh, I do the same things. I think the same things. Like how this whole book centers around the fact that she didn't tell her best friends about the fact that she broke up with Wynne. And like, I'm the type of person that will not tell my friends if I'm going through a rough time. I just don't like to discuss it, even though I know that they would be there for me. I know that they would help me. I just keep it all in here. Or like how she always feels like she has to be the one to keep the peace with all of her friends. If two of her friends would start arguing, she would kind of insert herself and make sure like everything was okay. And I do, again, the same thing. As someone who's an Enneagram type 9, that's literally the peacemaker. Yeah, I get it. That's me. And also her like putting her feelings, her opinions, and like not making decisions, like all of that aside for the sake of somebody else, and just trying to make things as easy as possible for another person, even though it might cause problems and that might be interpreted as her not caring. I just like, it was so interesting to see all of these things that I also do and how that had like a negative impact on Harriet's life and her relationships. It was so, I felt like I was being called out. Like some of those things could be good things, but I think like when you do them to the extent that Harriet and I do them, it can cause problems. So it was really emotional to read that because it just felt like it was so real, and it felt like I was being called out, but in the most polite way and the most emotional way. It was just so interesting to see things that I do in a character and see how that plays such a role in her life, whether it's good or bad. And I don't know, I just found that really emotional to read. I think that's why I loved Harriet so much, is because I could see so much of myself in her. Obviously not everything, but there was even like her like getting into pottery because it feels like calming to her, and it's just like something she does for fun, and she doesn't have to be good at it. She just enjoys it. Like I definitely think that there's certain things that I do in that way as well. Like Like it was just too much. It was too similar and I didn't like it. But I also did like it because I feel like when I can connect with a character on that level and I feel like there's so many similarities, like it makes me even more invested in the story and the characters. And yeah, I don't know. I really loved Harriet as a character and I really loved Win as well. I think there's a lot of aspects to Win and his like mental health struggles and how that played out. I think that's going to be relatable for a lot of people as well. And I don't know. It's just too much. I'm rambling on and on, I feel like. I loved it so much. So yeah, I just really loved this. I really loved the characters, like I've said a million times, and how she portrayed all of these different types of characters and these characters with all these different types of anxieties and fears and how that played a role. And also like just the discussion on friendship and how a lot of them are scared that these friendships and this bond that they have is growing apart, like they're growing apart from each other, and how they respond to that I think was really interesting to see and really well done, because it's definitely emotional when you feel like you're growing apart from friends, and I think it was just done in such a really good way. I also, again, obviously loved the romance. Like there were parts where I was, squealing and kicking my feet, but then there were also a lot of really emotional moments. I feel like this is just classic Emily and Henry, like having a book called Happy Place with a fun pink cover where you see friends like having a good time in the ocean, but then you read it and you're emotionally distraught. I feel like that's just like her adult romances in a nutshell. They all have such fun titles and fun bright covers, and then you read them and you're just sobbing by the end of these books. At least that's what happens to me. Yeah, I don't know if any of this has made sense. I feel like I, this weekend, was trying to gather my thoughts, and I feel like before I sat down to film, I knew what I wanted to say, and now I've been very scatterbrained. But basically, Harriet is me, and it hurt my feelings, but also made me emotional in good and bad ways. I loved Harriet and Win. I loved this friendship group. I loved how messy but real they felt. I loved also the setting, like I was saying before. The New England setting was so much fun. The Maine setting, it just felt like I was there. Like it felt very, very well researched, but just I know such a little detail, but it just, I don't know, I could picture it. And there was just a lot that I really loved. And she made a trope that I thought I hated work for me. So that's the power of Emily Henry. So yeah, loved this. 5 stars. Favorite book of the year so far. And I did want to say where this fell into my Emily Henry adult romance ranking. I still think Beach Read is my favorite. I don't know if anything will ever top Beach Read. I definitely want to do a reread of that. I think I'm probably going to reread it next month or something. I think I want to make that an every summer reread, because I just love it so much. And then after Beach Read, I think Happy Place comes in at a very close second. Both of them were 5 stars, so I love both of them so much, but I think this is my second place spot. And then after that, Book Lovers and then People You Meet on Vacation. But honestly, Book Lovers and People You Meet on Vacation, I gave both of them 4 stars. And a part of me is starting to think I might have liked People You Meet on Vacation more than Book Lovers, which I know is an unpopular opinion. But I feel like originally when I read Book Lovers, I thought I liked it more than People You Meet on Vacation. So I think I'm going to put that at number 3 and then People You Meet on Vacation as number 4. But honestly, I've loved every single one. I think they're so good. I just love the way Emily Henry writes romances and characters being in love with each other, but also the emotional sides of everything. Every single one I think has made me cry. It's just so good. And this was no exception. And like I said, 5 stars. So this was so good and just blew my expectations out of the water. I'm so happy that I loved this and that a second chance romance worked. And that's the power of Emily Henry, I'm telling you. But yeah, I think I've rambled on and on about Happy Place long enough. I'm so sorry that probably none of that made any sense. Me, when I'm editing this, is going to hate it because I'm going to be just trying to piece together a coherent thought from what I just said. But bottom line, I loved Happy Place, and I'm so happy that not only Happy Place, but Crying in H Mart, they were both 5 stars. After not having a 5-star for 3 months, is that what it was? It was really nice to finally have some books that I really, really loved, and yeah, it was very exciting to finally have a 5-star and also break that 3-star kind of curse that I was in and having all of my more recent reads be 3 stars. I'm happy that that's finally over. But yeah, I would love to know if you plan to read Happy Place by Emily Henry or if you've already read it. I have been kind of avoiding other people's reviews. Now that I've finished it, I've been looking at them, but I don't really know how people are feeling about this book. I've seen some good ratings, but I would love to know if you've read it, what you thought, or if you're planning on reading it. If you have read it and you've read some other Emily Henrys as well, I would love to know where this falls in your Emily Henry ranking. But yes, thank you all so much for going on this journey of me trying to find some 5-star reads after not having one since February. Very happy that we were successful. But that is going to be it for this vlog. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.